Welcome back, welcome back to the Will Watch channel. On behalf of the team SHAQ, this is season 3, episode 9. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful episode with Derek. He appreciate all the love and support. He wants to come back on the show. So we definitely got to have him back on the show. But before we get started with episode 9, you guys know, go ahead, drop that introduction. Oh man, the beat just get good each and every time. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, welcome back to the show. Wild the team SHAQ. Welcome to the Will Watch channel. Got a very special guest in the building today. My brother from another mother, AJ. How you doing, my brother? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Will Watch. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing amazing, man. I'm blessed and I'm honored to be here to speak with you.
Oh man, well we honored to have you, but I'm kind of upset with you. Why you gonna wear that Bulls hat, man? Like
Hey, man,
they ain't even make it to the playoffs, man.
listen, man, it's just a fashion statement, but if you really want to say, something about the Bulls, man, I respect Derrick Rose, man. Shout out to Derrick Rose. If I'm not mistaken, man, it's his last season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Much respect to Derrick Rose, man, because he definitely had the power of not giving up. I mean, I was a fan of Derrick Rose, man, but like I said, but I don't really watch basketball like that because I already know who's gonna win, who's gonna go to the finals. It's gonna be basically, the Nuggets and the Celtics. So, at the final. So that's pretty much what it's gonna be. But anyway, welcome to the show, man. We're honored to have you. Now I really, really want to dive into this topic with you because we had a conversation one time before, and a lot of people kind of brush this topic off because they still confused with the mind. Now, in life, we are told to wash our hands. We're told to wash the windows, wash the dishes. On Sundays, we even wash our clothes, and some people say, right, do laundry. But do we wash our brains with all the toxic and information that we receive and what we was taught, rather the things that we get caught? And so the topic that you and I had before is brainwash mindset. And so, get the people some background on a little bit about yourself, and let's dig deep on that topic. What's your take on people being brainwashed? Do you think we're living in a time where people are brainwashed?
Are we living in a time where people are brainwashed? Hmm. Well, a little bit about myself. My name is AJ Bruton, um, originally from Clarkson, Georgia. Um, I'll consider myself a man of God, a motivator, a thinker. Um, Overall, for the most part, decent guy, man. Not perfect, but constantly striving to be the best version of myself. When I think about brainwashing, um, just typical things. Um, Being brainwashed when it comes to either parents or either society telling you to go to school, um, find a job, and work until you die. When it comes to pedestalizing others before yourself, um, um, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, through sickness and in health, until death do us part. A lot of people, I would say, are brainwashed by society, making you feel like you should neglect yourself, pedestalize others, neglect your dreams while you helping others to succeed in their goals and their dreams.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you brought up that, man. That's a good point, AJ, man. So, was you raised in the two parent? Because I noticed that you said something about, far as the education, the work, the working environment, and that's really what it's all about when I think about brainwash. Because without vision, there's no destination.
Right.
Um, so, was you raised in a two parent household?
I was raised in a two-parent household. Parents were married together for 38 years. Right. And my father passed away December 9th, 2019.
Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. So, do you feel like being raised in the two parent household, and along with what you said, do you feel like you have a victim's, or do you have a victim's mindset, or do you have a suspect mindset? Because again, you think about it, we're living in a time where people are being brainwashed. I mean, you think about it, people sometimes are, we get the confusion that it's better to eat a cheeseburger than it is to smoke a cigarette. Like, we are traumatized beyond the brain, right? So, going back, do you feel like you have a suspect mind, or do you have a victim's mind in everything you learned growing up?
I think early on, I would call myself to be, you know, think of myself to be in the victim's mindset. I was always looking around to see, who was to blame for me thinking the way I thought? Who was to blame for me not going in the direction that I should have went? Why wasn't I taught this? Why wasn't I taught that? For a while, I was trying to peel back the layers and pointing the finger. But as time grows on and I matured and I began to go inward and look inward, a lot of things that occurred in my life was because of decisions that I made, as a man. you
Mm,
know,
wow, wow. And I like that because you mentioned the word inward. So,
right.
do you feel like America sometimes teaches us on what to think instead of how to think, and what not to believe and how to believe?
Definitely. What to think. They by, the programming as far as the television that we watch, the programs that they put in front of us as kids, early on as kids, they're influencing the mind, and shaping the mind, in order for us to walk in the direction of their agenda. So they that in that way they're, teaching us what to think. Like I said earlier, to get a job and go and work for someone else versus them telling us to start your own business, learn about being financially disciplined, um, and making your mark in the world. Um, so yeah, and a lot of that is we can look at our parents for a lot of it, but they were victim of the brainwashing as well. They didn't have the access to the information that we have today, the technology and everything. I mean, there were books, but uh, if you go back to our history, a lot of things were withheld from them. You
Right.
know, so
I mean, I 95% agree with you. I do agree. I think that you can hold them to accountability, so to a certain extent, because they just going based off high rate. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like I was brainwashed, bro. Going back to what you said about owning our own business, and getting a good job. See, we was taught the only way to make money is to work for it. We can use our brain to make money. We don't have to just get out here and just use our hands, use our feet and stuff like that. Like, parents teaches kids, okay, go to school, get good grades, go to college so you can get this paying job. I'm gonna be honest with you, I got 3 degrees, or really four. But if I knew what I knew back then, and then I probably wouldn't even went to college. I probably would have got a trade or something, and lived it off of that. So I still have to hold them to some type of accountability because who's gonna break that childhood trauma, right? Because all it is trauma. It's trauma. You learn off your experiences and you get motivated off the words. And that's how you able to grow. My biggest teacher is my experiences. And so I just gotta agree with you to the extent that, we want to own our own business. Yeah, see, America teaches us. That's why I asked you about America, because America teaches you, okay, you work 40 hours on a week, you get a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks. Brainwash, right? American teaches us that what we watch on TV, right? Entertainment, brainwash, right? I don't want to get deep into it, man, because we could talk about spirituality. We could talk about foods. I mean, half of what we eat is out of disease or death. If you think about it, I mean, the way they processing food today. So, I agree with you, man. But since we talking about parents and since we talking about, jobs and how what everything that we was taught, where do you think um brainwash come from? Where do you think brainwash come from? Like, do you think it would just originally just instilled in us? Do you think that America just put it here for us to believe? Do you think it's man made? Because I'm gonna tell you too, I'm a man of God. I believe in God's word, the Bible. But at the same time, like, where do it come from? Some people can arguably say that it come from slavery, you know. But what's your thoughts? How you feel? What you think? Where you think it's come from?
Well, if you think about slavery, they had to use force, not only physical force, but they had to, attack our minds and influence our minds in order to make us think lower of ourselves, think of ourselves as less than. So from generations on generations and generations, it's a lot of people never came out of that mindset of thinking lower than themselves. So that's why you see a lot of people never achieve their full potential because we were beaten and harmed, and our minds were just shaped to think of ourselves as being less than. Um, but that's truly not who we are as a people. Um, so I would agree that the brainwashing is a great place to start with slavery.
Yeah. And I agree with you because you brought up something, the mind. See, man, let me tell you something, man. When they made that quote, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, it really means that because when you talk about slavery, you just brought it up, and that's a good point. Like, they fed the slaves. They made sure they stayed strong physically, but they took one thing away from them, and that was their mind, to show them that, like you said, the less worth. And then we still got people like that they like, okay, you're worth more than $13 an hour. You're worth more than $10 an hour. Now, some people may make the argument, oh, it's not about the money. I do it because of the passion. Oh, I do it because it's just a second job. But it's inflation on the other side of that as well. Everything is going up. Everything is not staying the same, just like your brain. So you have to move the way inflation is moving, or you have to be ahead of inflation. So only thing that the slaves needed back then and there was just a clear mind. They had a suspect's feeling mind, but instilled in the victim's mentality. I mean, they was free. Think about a victim. A victim is free. They innocent. They didn't do nothing, right? But because they have a suspect mind, because they've just been traumatized and hit with all this danger in the mind, caused them to lose their worth. You know, what does brainwash look like? What does brainwash appear as to you? To you, I mean, this is just ordinary. Everybody got different opinion, but what does brainwash look like? Does it look like something scary? Does it look like something that needs to be implemented and people need to take more seriously? What do you think?
Well, they didn't want us to read or write. They didn't want us to, elevate our minds, with simple things as reading and writing so we can communicate better. And then you had Dr. Martin Luther King who wanted to just, who understood the law, who understand politics, who understood, you know, all the different things that we need to know as a people. And he fought for our rights in a peaceful way, in a peaceful manner. So the education, and you attack the finances, you attack people's ability to, just grow and prosper, then you keep them at a level where you're able to be superior over them and make money over them, make money off of them for generations on top of generations.
I'm so intrigued by what you said, and I'm gonna add to that, man, because you brought up the education. See, money for us, man, money is always being made where we as Americans who happen to be black are being hurted. And that's COVID-19. Look at what that did to us. Mass incarceration, right? Police genocide, right? Miseducation, right? The foods we eat. Mean the power, but no structure among the people. You know, it just brainwashed. Like, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was having this conversation earlier, AJ, man. You know, hospitals are getting more like I was talking to somebody and they was like, man, you need to go to the hospital because I was telling them my soreness on my leg. Man, go to the hospital. I said, man, I can't go. It's like, man, but you work in the hospital. You you done been in that field before. Like, why not you want to go? I said hospitals are getting to become like prisons. Prison. Think about it as like the infirmary, right? Grocery stores are becoming like prison because because on the dollar you can choose to eat healthy or you can choose to eat the process of the disease food, such as diabetes, right? Blood pressure, like brainwash, brainwash. Now
Definitely brainwashed.
you can arguably say, oh man, what does he talk about? Most of all the food we eat got sugar and salt in it, and that's true. That's really really true. But why we can't grow our food?
Right.
Why we can't come together and just say, we're just gonna eat the healthy food, man. But I just feel like this. We're living in a time to divide, subtract, and not stick together. And that's really what sums up brainwash. We got to get those time back. We got to do more of the adding, the multiplying, not the division and the subtraction, and not sticking together, but the adding and the multiplication, so where we can get an equal positive number. Um, so looking at going on and what we talked about, man, and how you're a man of God as well. I'm a man of God. I got a question for you. Are
Okay.
you happy right now, despite what you was taught growing up?
I'm happy that I'm coming into the knowledge of self, coming into the knowledge of these things, of how I was brainwashed. I'm happy to be on a journey of just discovery and just constant learning about the right foods to consume, um, the right books to read, the right information to consume every day. Um, it took a while for me to get here. Um, it took a while for me to get here, man. I'll be honest with you because being brainwashed can lead you down so many dark roads and so many paths in life. Um, whether it's whether it's the type of job you take, the type of career. I mean, taking jobs for just specifically for the money versus finding out what you're passionate about and putting your full energy into that and creating a way to make money off of that. Um, the type of mate that you choose. But now that I am choosing to consume the right herbs, work out, work on my mind, my body, my spirit. It is making me a lot more happy as a person.
Right. That's definitely a good point, my brother. And it was something that you said in the paraline of just working, man, in general with the value of a dollar, man. It's really what's whole value, like you said. You know, I was just having this conversation with somebody, and they was talking about, like you just brought up previously about, just working for the dollar, right? Having a conversation with somebody and we were just talking. He's self-employed and another guy was working on an hour and we all sitting around the table. And when they was talking, this guy said, well, I made 1,500 on a job, $1,500. I'm a welder and I work for myself. I made $1,500 in 2 days. You guys get out here and work, and you're on a job, and you don't even receive that in 2 weeks. And so, and then another guy stepped in and said, "But you know what? You don't have work in about 6 days, so you have to live off the 1,500." So it's just about making that balance, right? Making what you have passion for, along with learning the benefits of the mind, like you said, want to get it. Even though we had this childhood trauma, even though we had this childhood vulnerability, right? We can break that. We can heal that trauma, right? And that's really what it's all about, right here on Wheel Why. That's really what it's all about. And so, speaking of that, I want you to just be brief on this, right? If you can go back and change two things, just not a whole lot, but just two things. If you can go back and change two things in your life and on what you learn, on what you learn, pause, pause. If you can go back in life and change two things that you learn on what to do, but not how to do, what would it be?
Well, I would have got a trade earlier. Um, I would have went and got a trade, and I would have dived into it wholeheartedly and learned the skill that I needed. And I would have started my business early. Also, I wouldn't have gotten married so early and so young without being established. Because when you're not established and you're trying to raise a family, it just makes things more difficult. So yeah, I would. Those are the things I would do.
Man, those are two things that I think a lot of people wish they can implement more better. I mean, we was taught that as younger. Don't get married unless you ready for it, unless you established. And the fact that you brought up a trade, like degrees don't make you. I read one time it said degrees only make you become hot, like 90 degrees, right? But skills pay the bills. And the fact that you sit right here and say that you would have took a trade and took a skill right here on Wheel Why shows value as well. My next question, what is your message? Because again, we're living in 2023. We're not living in 2003. We're living in 2023. We're not living in 2003, right? Some people still are living in this world today and feel like what they was taught is right. They stand behind what they believe. They stand behind how they feel. What message do you have to those individuals out there who feel like brainwash is just a term and how they are not being affected by brainwash? Like, what do you got to say to those people who feel like, oh, I'm not brainwashed? Like, I was raised the right way. This is the right way. This is the best way. And this is the only way. What message do you have to those people?
For those people who feel like they haven't been brainwashed or who feel like um, the way that they're going is the right way, take a look around you. Take a look around at your family members, people who are in the same socioeconomic standing as you, and see how well that is working for them.
Wow, AJ, that's funny you say that. Now, I noticed that you keep talking about business and owning your own business and being financially literate and how slaves didn't know how to read and write and stuff like that back in the day, which is all good points. You even talk about books. Um, any little money I get, I invest. I literally birth a baby when I had my own business, when I started my own business. And I got two businesses. And the fact that you just having the same mindset as me brings me value, right? What do you think is holding you back right now from getting started with that business? Because again, you're in a world where you admit it, right? You in a world where you admit it that you are more prone to learn, right? So what do you think that's holding you back? Because you can't say you brainwashed no more, right? Because you that's an alert in your mind to be alert, to be on the watch, right? So what do you think is holding you back from getting started with that business?
I've had several businesses in the past, and I will say that they were lessons. But what's holding me back now is, I would say, fear and procrastination.
Man, that's one of my favorite ones. I actually got an acronym on one of the episodes when we first got started with We Are Why. We had this me and Jay Schumann, we had this episode and it was about you know, risk, right? And how risk takers are the money makers. And we had a word of the day that was FOMO, acronym of the day that we call FOMO, and that's the fear of missing out. So it's funny you say fear because it's the fear of missing out. I ain't gonna take too much of your time, my brother. So I just gotta dig deep in this, and I gotta ask this question because I know we running out of time. You're a man of God, good man. You my brother. You talked about some things that people can learn from, people can grow from, people can take away from. How are you going to change as well as restart your mindset from a damaged brain to a healed brain? What is one of the things you're going to restart right now? Moving forward, we can forget about the past because again, we don't wash our brains. Those people that still leaving dishes in their sink, those people that still are not washing their cars like they should, not washing their hands when they go to the bathroom, we done left those people. We washing our brains. So how can you restart your mind, right? Just as we restart our phone, how can you restart your mind from a damaged brain to a healed brain?
I think at this point in my life is to take that leap of faith, man. Take that leap of faith and apply the things that I've learned, the things that I'm teaching myself on a day-to-day basis. Just simply applying and taking action.
That's it. We're gonna take action. And you know what, my brother? I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna take a leap of faith, and I'm gonna take action right here on Wheel Y. Man, this was a dope episode, man. Let them know. I mean, what you got? What's next for AJ, man? What's next for AJ? And let the people know where they can follow you at, where they can reach. If they want to talk more about brainwash.
But what I'm going to continue to do is motivate people, encourage people, in their faith, you know, and just how to make it through their day-to-day walk with life, as an individual, as a man, as people of faith. If anybody wants to follow me on TikTok, you can reach me at AJ underscore no cap, which would be AJAY underscore no cap. That's on TikTok,
Mm,
as well as
okay. Now say that. Now say that one more time for the people that missed it. Say that one more time, my brother.
you guys can follow me on TikTok for more motivational and encouraging videos. Will be at AJ underscore no cap, which would be AJAY underscore NOCAP. And I'm also on Facebook, which would be AJ Bruton. It'd be AJBREWTON.
All right. All right, there it is, man. He let y'all know everything about it, man. Go follow my brother. All right. Anything else you want to say, man, before we wrap it up?
I just appreciate the opportunity, to speak to you guys today. Um, Thank you for having me.
Oh, no doubt. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and taking out the time. And you see, viewers, this is why we are why is why we are why. Because they said that we wasn't not, right? But we are why. We are why because we are why not, right? AJ just broke it down. AJ and myself, we had a just a general conversation. We just had a flow conversation from heart to heart, and that's really what it's all about. Because people be sometimes thinking that stuff is so scripted, but it can never be scripted when you have two individuals that's a man of God and that have two brains that's already washed. And how we are trying to teach these people at home to not have an undeveloped brain, but a developed brain. Again, not having an undeveloped brain, but a developed brain. I am SHAQ. We are Y. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I am SHAQ. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for season 3, episode 10. This is season 3, episode 9. We are Y. Again, we are Y. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. We're going to go ahead and leave on that note. Thank you. And we appreciate you, AJ. And we looking forward to your next time. All right, my brother.
Thank you.
All right. We out.